that.
Would you rather have Donald Trump as a dictator for 4 years or re-elect Joe Biden for 4 years?
I would rather have Donald Trump. I'd like to see the repeal the Roosevelt law so that he can be a president for a lot more than 4 years. But this country needs a dictator. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Greetings, fellow freedom lovers. This is T-Pain USA, and welcome to the Really American T-Cast. Now do old T-Pain a favor. Let's kick this show off with a like and a subscribe. And then buckle up and strap in tight, because there's some MAGA turbulence dead ahead. Now in recent weeks, Trump said he wanted to become a dictator on day one. But the media either ignored it altogether or just dismissed it as more Trump silliness. Well, guess who heard every word? Trump's already softening the ground to become America's first dictator, and MAGA's slurping it up like biscuits and gravy at their neighborhood Cracker Barrel. Now this little fella here, he wants us to think he's just dictator curious, and that he really hates to say this. But does he really?
Donald Trump said on his first day he's going to be a dictator for a day.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's what T-Pain thought.
Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of President Biden re-elected?
You know, you don't have to like the words that come out of the man's mouth, but sometimes in life we all need a good paddling from the principal to set our life on the right track.
This fellow wants to get paddled by Trump, the principal. Did you notice his girlfriend's face? You do not want to check these folks' browser history.
Your t-shirt says Jesus Christ 24.
Yes.
Is he on the ballot?
He's not on the ballot, but Trump is so doggone close.
Comparing Trump to Jesus again? Really? Hasn't Jesus suffered enough, folks? Now, T-Pain would wager if you could find this lady's Bible and open it up, old Moses would squint from the light. But when she says that Trump is doggone close to Jesus, she ain't as far off the mark as you might think. Because you know who else was doggone close to Jesus? Judas.
Do you believe America's a Christian country?
We were founded on Christianity, sir.
And I still believe it's a Christian country.
America's a Christian nation. Yeah, T-Pain's heard this one all his life. And you know, the funny thing is, for a party that believes our nation was founded on Jesus and his teachings, they certainly don't act like it, do they? Jesus embraced the foreigner, and he lifted up women 2,000 years ahead of his time. And he didn't give the rich tax breaks, and he didn't pay off porn stars to keep quiet because he had to pay them to have sex with him. Now here's something to think about. If this nation is truly founded on Jesus and Christianity, then why, in our most sacred document, the United States Constitution, is there literally no trace of the words God, Jesus, or Christianity? Now, T will give you that old Thomas Jefferson did mention God in the Declaration of Independence. But did you also know that Tommy Jefferson published a version of the New Testament with all of the miracles of Jesus removed? It's because Jefferson believed the Bible was a product of man, not God. You think old Tommy J would be running with today's MAGA crowd? Think again.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am, and I don't like what's going on with what they're trying to do to us Christians.
What are they trying to do?
Well, they're just trying to silence us.
Christians are being silenced. If T-Pain had a quarter for every time he'd heard this, he'd be a rich man. Now this poor lady is so silenced, she had to go on national cable news network to tell the whole country she's being silenced. And here's another thing. Just check out your cable TV guide at any moment, and you'll find no less than 3 Christian broadcast networks. And on each of them networks, you can find some slick used car salesman preacher telling you Christians are being silenced while simultaneously asking for your debit card number. So ask yourself this. When is the last time you saw a Muslim channel on your cable guide? Or how about a Buddhist channel? No, like always, T-Pain's going to shoot you straight. Christianity's got it so good in this country, they have to manufacture their own martyrdom. So, is Christianity under attack like these people claim? When in doubt, ask a professional.
Are Christians under attack? No. Piece of legislation that a number of people in that caucus backed, which is changes to abortion laws here, and the idea that women who get abortions should be prosecuted for homicide and could face the death penalty. Is that something that you supported?
I do support that. I support it in the sense of I think we ought to have, I would like to see South Carolina as the most conservative state in the nation.
So you would support the death penalty for a woman who took an abortion?
I don't know how it would be implemented, quite frankly.
That's totalitarianism.
Now, if anyone asked a regular person if they supported the death penalty for abortion, their answer would be a quick and simple no. But this guy had to think about it because he ain't sure exactly how the women should be put to death. If it was 2,000 years ago, this guy would be the fellow always toting around a bag of stones, because you never know when you might run across a mouthy woman. Now, if you think MAGA is content to abolish Roe v. Wade and be done with women's rights, T-Pain's got a pair of breeding mules he'd like to sell you. Now, these MAGAs ain't going to rest until their control over women is total and complete. And their next logical step is taking away birth control.
Birth control really screws up female brains, by the way. Every single one of you need to make sure that your loved ones are not on birth control. It increases depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. It creates very angry and bitter young ladies and young women.
Now, these self-proclaimed alpha males like old Charlie Kirk here, they don't need birth control. Theirs comes standard equipment from the factory. Now, notice these guys ain't calling for the end of Viagra either. They're probably eating that stuff like chiclets. Okay, MAGA wants to ban abortion and then do away with birth control. But that's it, right? I mean, what else could women possibly have that they'd want to take away?
Will women have the right to vote tomorrow if you wave that magic Christian wand?
No.
Okay, why not? I want to get into why not. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Because if we had a Christian nation tomorrow and women did have the right to vote, we would not have a Christian nation within 50 years.
Your vote. That's it. You got to see it the way these guys do. They're looking out for women so they ain't burdened with the responsibility of actually having a say in anything. And did you hear this little fella say that women having the right to vote is putting our country on the road to ruin? Now, folks, this ain't nothing new. Since the Garden of Eden, men have been blaming women for their own poor decision making. As a matter of fact, when old Adam ate that apple, he hid in the bushes because he suddenly realized he was buck naked. And then God came to him and said, "Who told you you were naked, Adam? Have you eaten from the tree of life that I commanded you not to eat?" And what did the man say? "The woman you gave to be with me, she gave me of the fruit of the tree, and I ate." And it don't seem like Adam learned his lesson either, folks. As a matter of fact, some years later, after Adam and Eve were cast out of the garden, they walked by the garden gate with their young'uns, Cain and Abel. And Adam pointed to the gate and said, "See that, kids? We used to live there till your mom ate us out of house and home." And being totally honest, this little fella here, he ain't no different from Adam, except that Adam has seen a grown woman naked. Now, T-Pain's got to admit, he's gotten a little bit off topic. But T would be the first to admit that he's run down a rabbit hole every now and then. But there's an old saying, you got to dance with the one that brung you. So back to the MAGA dictator telethon.
Have 4 years of Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of Joe Biden as a president?
We have a dictator currently.
Just this week, T-Pain heard MAGA call Joe Biden weak and feckless, but then turn around and call him a brutal warmonger. Then they say he's got dementia, don't even know where he is, but then they claim he's the ruthless mastermind behind a sinister globalist plot to rule the world. See, that's the thing about MAGA. There's no one right answer.
In a speech that on day one for a day, he would be a dictator. What do you think of that?
No idea. I don't know.
Would you rather have 4 years of Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of Joe Biden as a president?
Trump.
As a dictator?
Maybe.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but sure, why not?
Have 4 years of Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of Joe Biden as a president?
Donald Trump all the way.
Even as a dictator?
Yes, yes.
Even coming out of Slovakia?
Yes, yes.
T-Pain's got a little challenge for you. Name a dictatorship with a happy ending. Now, Hitler shot himself in a bunker, and Mussolini was hung upside down at a gas station. Saddam Hussein was hung in a public square. Dictatorships all end the same way. And this little girl from Slovakia, of all people, should know that their countries are always left worse than when those dictators took power. Now, this dictator fever ain't no different for these folks than crystal meth. Sure, they've seen meth destroy everyone's life that it touches, but they know their experience will be different. And that's it, folks. Yes, our dictator will give us a happy ending. So listen to their cries one more time and let this sink in.
This country needs a dictator. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Folks are always asking T-Pain, T, you live in northern Arkansas with all them other MAGAs. Why don't you think and vote like them? Well, brothers and sisters, there's a simple explanation for that one. T-Pain was a breech baby. T don't fall for this foolishness because he was brought into this world with somebody literally pulling his leg. Plus, old T-Pain has always believed you study history so you can learn from other folks' mistakes. Now, that being said, listen up. Those that fail to learn the lessons of history are doomed to vote for Donald Trump. T-Pain out.